Hello, this is a snippet from the Scan Pro Audio Show, and today Roland David Ahlund dropped by with the fantastic new System 8 synthesizer. So let's have a look.
Hi guys, I'm David Ahlund, high-tech product specialist for Roland Europe Group, and I'm here today at Scan Pro Audio, having the pleasure of introducing you to the new System 8. If you're familiar with the System 1, this is basically the successor to the System 1, but a lot more powerful. This is partly based on something we call the plug-out concept. Now, a plug-out is basically like having a virtually entirely new synth inside your synth. So this means it's not about patch libraries. It's not about patch expansions only. It's about actually changing the entire sound engine, changing the filters, changing the LFOs, and so on. So it's basically like loading different synths inside the System 8. So the System 8 actually comes shipped already with two plug-out synths, and these are the legendary Jupiter 8 and the Juno 106. So you can get the complete character of these original products inside the System 8. And the System 8 is also a unique synth in itself. So it's basically already from the factory shipping, it's already like having three synths in one. Okay, I would like to start by showing you the key differences between the System 8 and the System 1. Of course, we have twice the polyphony in the System 8, and again, the new plug-outs, but also we have a vocoder built in, and I think the key word for the System 8 is dynamic. It's very dynamic because we have full velocity sensitivity, of course, but we can also affect different parameters with the velocity sensitivity, such as the amplifier, but also the filter. On top of that, we have 4 directly accessible parameters for the mod lever and also the pitch bend wheel, which means I can control filter bend range, filter pitch range, modulation pitch range, and modulation filter range. So I can get really, really powerful control over my sound in real time. So speaking of dynamics, let me just show you a simple bass sound that I can control a lot of parameters at the same time with. So I'll just play a little bass line. So that's just an example of what you can do with basses, but of course this applies to any type of sound. So we'll show you some more dynamics. Another key difference between the System 8 and the System 1 is now we have 3 powerful effect units on board. So this means I have a distortion section, I have a delay/chorus section, and also a reverb section that you can all use at the same time. So for that purpose, let's have some distortion. I have a distortion here, and it's also topped with the chorus and a little bit of reverb at the same time. And again, like I showed you, very dynamic thanks to the bend sensitivity and the mod sensitivity on the left side here. So we can just play a little riff. So really, really powerful riff sounds as well, thanks to the System 8. But we can also play something more mellow, like big strings and pads, something like this. So the System 8 is really, really good for any type of electronic sound. Effects, basses, leads, you name it. But of course, more importantly, like I said, we also have the plug-out concept again. So this comes shipped with a virtual Jupiter 8 and a virtual Juno 106. So it's basically like having a whole vintage synth rig inside one quite decently priced synthesizer. So let me show you a couple examples with the Jupiter 8 section here. So the Jupiter 8 is obviously very famous for big pad sounds. Even though they might be theoretically quite simple, they sound just really big. So let's have a listen. Also, thanks to our own ACB technology, that means we get really, really smooth filter changes, and basically any parameter change becomes really smooth, and you don't hear any stepping in the filter, for instance, or any artifacts like that. So let's just have a listen to the smoothness of the filter. So no stepping, no quirks, apart from, of course, the classic Jupiter 8 filter character in itself. Another thing that makes the System 8 very, very unique is the fact that not only do we emulate these classic vintage sounds really well, but we can also apply a completely new dynamic to these sounds. So this means, for instance, if I have a classic Jupiter 8 clav sound here, so that was a Jupiter 8 sound. But now, thanks to the System 8's unique dynamics, I can actually apply these dynamics to a Jupiter 8, which of course with a real Jupiter 8 is not even possible. So let's see how that sounds. So there you go, completely different dynamics onto the Jupiter 8. Now on board the System 8, we also have the performance mode. Now this lets me layer or split two different sounds, but not just only two different sounds from the same machine, but also actually with completely different synths. So this means I can have a Jupiter 8 bass split with a System 8 lead, for instance. Of course, you can do it with any combination you like. In this case, I actually have two Jupiter 8 sounds though. So there's my bass, and of course on top of that I have my big sort of synth basically. Now with this classic split I can do something like this. And then, thanks to the easy to use sequencer, now if I do this again, I'll show you something else. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if I change the performance to another performance that contains the same bass patch, actually the sequencer will just keep on playing. So I can go from this to this. So it's really useful for live performance that way. Now thanks to the panel select button, I can also select which part I want to tweak around with. So I have it on upper now. Of course, I can set it to lower and tweak the bass instead. And so on. Now, thanks to the easy-to-use sequencer and quite powerful sequencer on board, I can also actually record my tweaks as well. So I'll just go to real-time record. And now we have those filter changes recorded. This also applies to any other parameters, so I can actually tweak around with the reverb on the bass. So now you can hear the reverb going up and down. We can try something else, the resonance level. And of course, it's both a step sequencer and real-time sequencer, so really powerful sequencer there. It also has an external mic/line input, as well as a USB audio interface that's IRA-Link compatible. And finally, we also have CV gate outputs, so you can again control classic vintage gear or newer modular gear as well. So all in all, I would say the System 8 combines already from factory shipping 3 really powerful synths in one, but you can also expand it with even one more if you want. And we already have a quite decent library of those synths available. So check out the System 8. Thank you very much.